everyone, welcome back. My name is Christy, and my channel, Money and Mindset, is all about the intentional focus on those two things, money and mindset, to decrease stress and increase joy and happiness in our lives. So I think it's because it's January. Everybody's talking about savings challenges. And so I thought I would help kind of call all of the different ideas that I'm seeing out there on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and share with you 10 different savings challenges that I'm seeing that I thought sounded kind of interesting and probably, kind of easy. Some of these savings challenges I think get a little complex, and we're less likely to do them if they are complex. I mean, that's the whole idea around savings challenges, is they are supposed to be fun and they're supposed to feel like a game. So make us feel like kids again. There is a game to be won. I'm in and I'm all for it. So I wanted to focus more on some of the ones that were easier, were simpler, because you really have to think about how you operate too. I mean, something that may be a daily challenge sounds great, but in practice, if you don't have the ability to take that little bit of extra time to focus on that savings challenge every single day, that may not be the best challenge to start out with. Maybe a weekly or a monthly challenge would be better. So again, these are 10 different savings challenges that I found that I thought sounded pretty cool. One which I am doing myself as well. And there are 3 different categories here of challenges that I'm going to talk about. So one category has kind of an unknown number, and that's because you do it across the entirety of the year, but you're not quite sure how much you're going to be able to save, because the variable of how much money is going to be there for you to save is going to change a little bit. So it's a surprise at the end of the year how much money you were able to save, which some people are very motivated by that idea of having it be a surprise. The next category are known challenges. So if you do these specific steps, at the end of the year, you are going to have this amount of money in your savings account. And some people are more motivated by that idea of knowing exactly how much they're going to be able to have, because maybe they have a specific goal in mind, like saving for Christmas, saving for a vacation, or something like that. And then the last category are very short term. They aren't necessarily related to saving money, but they are concepts that help you save money in a very short term of time frame. So some people are doing these challenges as well. So let's jump in. I'm going to start with the first savings challenge, which is the one that I'm doing personally, and that's the $5 challenge. And you could do the $5 challenge or a variation of it, which is the $1 challenge. The concept is the same. Every time you have an extra $5 bill or an extra $1 bill, you would just take that money and you would stash it away. People are getting really creative about the containers that they're going to put this extra money into. And some people, are covering it up, decorating it up. There's only, the little slot in the top to be able to put the money in. They can't see how much money is in there, but every $5, every $1, it's going in their container. Now I'm a little bit more analytical, so I like to know how much money is in there. I found this little box at the dollar store in December. I thought it was super cute. Knowing that I was going to probably do this challenge, I decided to pick it up. And I've only had two paychecks so far. So the way that I am doing this, to make this a little bit easier for me, and I don't use cash outside of my cash envelopes. So at the end of my paycheck cycle, so going into the next paycheck, and I'm going to stuff my envelopes for the next paycheck cycle, I'm taking out the extra money that I have. And surprise, surprise, these are usually $5 bills or $1 bills. So you can see I'm doing both 5s and 1s. And I have put, because I'm tracking it on my little Post-it note, so far I've put money in here twice, and I have $22 in here so far. So that's not bad, a little bit of extra money. And really, because I had budgeted this already in my cash envelopes, it really does feel like it is extra money for me. So I'm going to keep doing that challenge across the year. So that would be the $5 and the $1 challenge. The next one is the round up challenge. And I thought this one was kind of interesting because again, it's playing a little game with yourself. And for bills that you pay every month, that you have a general idea of what the ballpark is. Of course, when we go to do our budget, for the month, and usually we're doing that in advance, you have to kind of put a number in there that you think it's going to be around that. Well, the concept is maybe you round that up by just, $5 or $10 or something like that. So say your utility bill is usually around $50 to $60. I would budget $70 if I was doing the round up challenge. And then when the bill comes in, I would pay the bill, and basically anything that's left, I would take that and I would put that in my savings account. It's already in my budget. Again, it's a way where I feel like I've already spent that money. So it's extra money that I can set aside and I'm not going to miss it. Another challenge is called the zero out challenge. And in this one, what you're basically doing is on a regular cadence. So maybe you decide to do this weekly. Maybe you're going to do this once a month. I would probably do it weekly, by the way. You go and you look at your bank account and say you have $486.55. What you would do is you would zero that out to the nearest 10th dollar, so $480. And you would take that extra $6.55 and you would move that over to your savings account. You could do that more regularly if you wanted to, but I think weekly, that could add up to, a couple extra $100 for sure across the entire year if you're doing that every week. So that's the zero out challenge. Now, the weight challenge is one that I had never heard of before that I thought was pretty interesting. So we're tying weight loss to financial savings challenges in this instance as well. So you prescribe a dollar amount for every pound. So it could be $1, could be $5, could be whatever you choose. And every week when you go to weigh in, the number of pounds you use, you would do your multiplier. So if you lost 1 pound, you would take $5 and you would put that in your savings account. I saw an interesting variation on this. One woman was saying that's what she was doing for money or for weight that she was losing. But if she gained weight, she was going to double the amount on her pound so that she would put that would be the amount she would put in her savings. So if she lost a pound, it'd be $5 in savings. If she gained a pound, it would be $10 in savings. So just playing a little game with herself to really, she doesn't want to spend a ton of money by gaining, obviously, weight. So it's better for losing weight. Interesting way to approach it, but tying those two things together, weight loss and saving money in a fun way. And then the last one of what I would call these kind of unknown category challenges is the temperature challenge. And in this one, again, you get to pick, if you want to do this once a month, if you want to do this once a week, and you can, so you look at the temperature outside, and that is what you would move into your savings account. And you could do that in change, so you could do that in cents, or you could do that in dollar amounts. So I probably would do this once a month, and I would do that on the first of the month. And that would be the amount, say it was 37 degrees on the first of the month, then I would do $37 into my savings account. Could be a little interesting in Minnesota because we do have negative temperature days, but then I would probably just go to the next day where it's a positive temperature, and then that would be the amount that I would save for that day. So let's move into the more known category of challenges. So the 52-week envelope challenge is one that I think a lot of people are very familiar with, but just in case you haven't heard of it, you have 52 envelopes. If you want to save on envelopes, you could do this on index cards, or you could just have little pieces of paper and you put 1 to 52 on each one of the envelopes or your pieces of paper. And those equate to the dollar amounts, 52 weeks for the year. And then every week you would pick a random envelope out of your stack of envelopes or pieces of paper, And then that is the dollar amount that you move to your savings account for that week. Because this is, again, a known savings challenge, if you do this across the entire year, at the end of the year, you will have $1,378 that you would have saved. And that to me is amazing because it is meant to feel pretty painless. It could be $1, it could be, at most, it would be $52 for a week. The penny challenge is the same kind of concept, except this is something that you do every day. And again, if this isn't something you would necessarily have time to think about every day, I don't know that, this is always the best one, but you can always play catch up too if this is something, you really are keen on this idea. Because the penny challenge actually would be a great one to do with kids too. So the kids can, have the extra pennies and they could put it, in the container. So in this one, across the entire year, you would put a penny in for the day of the year that is. So on January 1st, you'd put a penny in your savings account. On January 2nd, because that's the second day of the year, you would put 2 pennies in. And then on the 55th day of the year, it'd be 55 cents. And then the maximum amount would be on December 31st, 365 days later, $3.65. So again, if this is a known challenge, so if you were to do this across the entire year, you would save $667.95. Just saving your pennies every day. The last one is if you are looking at saving a very specific amount, and this is more of a shorter term savings challenge, but a lot, like Dave Ramsey talks about, having a $1,000 emergency fund. And I think a lot of people, that's kind of the first number they think of when they're thinking about having an emergency fund is $1,000. Or if you're thinking about saving up for a vacation, having, some extra money or something like that. But $1,000, that's a nice amount to have in your savings account or for whatever upcoming expenditure that you have. So if you're looking at saving $1,000 within 3 months, so that's pretty quick to save $1,000, you could look at doing this 3-month $1,000 challenge. So it's very simple in terms of a concept. They took $1,000, divided by 12 weeks, and that's $84 a week. So you have your set number, $84 every week that you would move over to your savings account. And I'm going to be having some videos coming up soon talking about side hustles. So if $84 a week feels like a lot, the one thing we can think about is, are there different side hustles we can do to think about getting us to that little bit of extra money that we need to accomplish our savings goal and our savings challenge? So look for more videos coming up from me very soon about side hustles that can increase our income and help us accomplish our savings goals. So the last category I talked about, so there's no specific goal and it isn't necessarily saving money very tangibly like these other challenges, but it is, how can I think about a behavior change that ultimately will get me to the goal of decreasing my spending for the month? And so there are 2 different flavors of this. There's doing a no spend month or doing a pantry challenge month. So no spend months, they kind of scare me, to be quite honest, because I've talked about in one of my previous videos that I have a spender kind of nature. And so I am the type of person, and I think many of us are this way. We go into Target with a list of 3 things, and maybe those 3 things cost $15. And we walk out $100, $150 later, and we kind of go, how did that happen? It's Target. It's crazy, but it is very much meant to get us to spend our money, and they do it very well. But in the concept of a no spend month, you would walk into Target with your list of 3 items, and you would walk out with those 3 items because you're not spending any extra money. And a lot of people, I think, can get behind this because it's not forever. It's a very finite amount of time. It's 1 month. And so we can put the willpower and the discipline behind this so that for a month, we can stop buying everything on Amazon. We can really be prescriptive about our Target runs, and things like that. So the no spend month would be not spending anything extra outside of our essentials and our bills. And everything else then can be put towards savings. So the no spend month, I've noticed, is very popular right now. And I think it's because it's January. So everybody has, some big goals and they want to start the year off really right. The last one is the Pantry challenge. And this is one that I do think that I want to try and see how I can do, because I know that I'm one of those people that I continue to buy things for my groceries, and I go over my grocery budget on a fairly regular basis, which is why I have recently increased my grocery budget for the month. But because of that, I have things in my pantry and in my refrigerator that if I knew how to put all of these things together in the right way, I could probably be cooking a lot more from home. And so there are apps for that if you put in all of the things that you have in your pantry, it will give you recipes of things that you can make from home without having to go out and buy anything else. And with the Pantry challenge, essentials like milk and bread and eggs, those you can continue to have in a much smaller grocery budget for the month. But really you want to focus on being able to clear everything that you can out of all of the food that you already have in your pantry. There is an app, and I think it's called Recipe IQ. I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but I will link to it below, that I found, and I was playing with it today, where I was just putting in, different things that I had. And I didn't put everything in by any means. I put in, spices and some things I had in my freezer and my refrigerator and, a couple of different beans and stuff like that. 39 items. But so I input 39 items into this app. And it calculated that there were over 3,300 recipes that I could make just from those 39 items that I had already put into the app that I have in my pantry. Mind blown. So I will have to try some of those out for sure, some of those recipes, and I'll report back to you guys how this all goes. I'm going to do kind of a modified pantry challenge, but I do want to do this just because I know I have a ton of money tied up in things that are already here in my kitchen, which I could use and probably be creating healthier meals for myself here at home. So those are the different savings challenges that I thought would be fun to highlight, of different ones that I've seen. I would love to hear in the comments below some different challenges that you're doing. Are you doing any of these challenges? Are you doing something different? How's it going so far? How are you feeling about it? And, let's support each other and be each other's cheerleaders to continue making positive progress on these challenges. So thank you, everyone. If you enjoyed this content, please click the like button. If you'd like to hear more from me, click the subscribe button so you're notified every time I upload a video. And I will see you again soon. Stay tuned.